Hello and welcome back to yet another video. As of today, it is currently January, which means it is my birthday month. And as you can see, I'm wearing a brand new dress, which I have made specifically for my birthday. So without any further ado, let me show you how I made it. The pattern I'm using is McCall's M8575. I have 4 meters of this quilting cotton, a 16-inch zipper to match, and some black bias tape. Let's get started. Good morning. Don't I look absolutely fabulous? I have just woken up. Just gotten out of bed. I've been awake for some time now. Just thinking over what I'm going to do with this dress this morning. It is about 8 o'clock now, and I think already I'm going to change it from my original plan. Yay! Originally, I was going to make view A here, which is the shorter skirt version, until I realised my legs aren't shaped like that, and therefore I don't think that length will look as good on me as it does on the model on the packet. So I did a Google search to see if anybody had made the longer length to see what that looks like, because I was worried it was going to be too long, and it looks great. It comes down to about here, and so I think that is the length I'm going to go for, which means already I don't have enough fabric to make it. I am short by 1 meter, so what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to cut out what I can out of the meterage I have, and then when I run out, go get some more, because my local store has like 1 meter of this left in stock. So really, I should probably go and get that meterage now to ensure that I will have it and can finish this dress. But I'm too tired. I can't be bothered, and I like to live dangerously. So anyway, without any further ado, let us get started on my birthday dress. First things first, I'm going to cut out all of the pattern pieces. I just finished cutting out the fabric that I currently have here, and I just want to show you guys this. Look how fractionally short I am of cutting out these last 2 pieces. Like usually I wouldn't mind having, you know, just like 1/2 centimeter short of seam allowance, because I can make that work. But because this fabric has white borders along the edges, I don't want any of that peeking through because this is such a dark fabric. So I have to go and get all of 1/2 meter of fabric to make this project work. But in the meantime, I can at least get the bodice part of the dress constructed, because it's only the skirt that I'm missing pieces for. So let me start on the bodice. But first, let me use those scrap pieces to cut the lining pieces out of, because it doesn't matter if they're going to have white on it, because it's on the inside, you won't see it. Now on to the sleeves. So first I sew some bias tape along the top edge here, and this is going to create a channel for the elastic later. After the initial stitch is done, I press it to one side and then understitch it. Next I fold the bias tape to the inside of the sleeve and press. Then I sew as close as possible to that bottom edge, thus creating a channel for the elastic. I then cut some 1 centimeter wide black elastic to the measurements in the guide here. And using a safety pin, I then thread it through the channel I just created. Next, I sew the bust cups to the sleeve edge here.
And on the other side, I sew in the lining piece. Then I do some finagling and sew the curved edge of the bodice pieces together.
It's just after lunch and I have had my lunch. I played with the dogs for a little bit.
Good you. Good you. Yeah. Good you. Daisy. Good you.
And now I'm back into sewing. So let me show you where I've gotten up to on my dress. As you can see here, basically all I've done is elasticated the sleeves. It took a lot longer than I expected, just because the width of the elastic channel and the elastic is the exact same size, so it was a bit tricky threading the elastic through the channels. I've sewn on the top of the bodice pieces, and now I'm at the point where it says to understitch the lining, which I'm not going to do. Why, do you ask? The purpose of understitching something is so that the fabric rolls slightly behind it, so that you see only the outer fabric and you don't see the lining whatsoever. Now, because this piece is also going to be an elasticated elastic channel, and my lining fabric is exactly the same as my outer fabric, it doesn't matter if you see a fraction of the lining peeking through. So I'm going to forego that step and instead just go straight to making the elastic channels. Let's get back into it. Oh, and to make matters even worse, that is all I have left of my thread. So wish me luck.
To make the elastic channels on the top of the bodice, I'm sewing directly through the top layer and lining layer of fabric, and then repeating the guide steps with the elastic and the safety pin and the threading and all of that goodness. And here's how it looks after the elastic's been threaded. Now on to making the lower half of the bodice. So first I'm sewing the back pieces together here. And they get sewn to the back part of the sleeve in this really weird position here. It was so weird, in fact, that I actually bothered to hand baste my fabrics together this time, something I don't usually do. And then I add the lining fabric to the other side and sew through all of the layers.
So I fully intended to have this dress done in one singular day until my cat came home and decided she didn't want to eat any of her food. And I had to take her to the vet and pay $200 to get a blade of grass removed from her throat. She's fine now. It's cool. Anyway, back to sewing. And I should get this dress done in the second half of today. So technically, still one day make, right? Oh, and before I forget, I got the extra fabric and thread while I was waiting at the vet, so yay.
So naturally I cut out the pattern pieces that I was missing.
I guess I still haven't quite woken up yet because I just understitched the wrong side. And yeah, this is really fun to unpick, so whoops.
After unpicking my mistake, I then understitched the lining part of the fabric this time. Then I tacked the two bust cups of the bodice together here. Which means I can now sew on the lower portion of the bodice front. And by sew, I mean hand tack the front piece on and then add the lining piece and sew through all of the layers, attaching it all at once. Next, I trim away the excess fabric from the seam, and then I fold it over and begin to sew the side seams together, which I'm actually doing wrong here, but I'll get to that in a minute. Hello, welcome to very poor lighting in here because I have all the lights turned off because it's so hot. It is so hot in here right now. It's 32 degrees outside, and that is what I am going to blame my mistakes on, right? I just sewed up the two side seams on the dress, and apparently you're meant to leave the lining layer free, but because it's so hot I just couldn't comprehend that instruction, and instead I have not left the lining layer free because I couldn't be bothered unpicking all of my work. Let me show you how I'm remedying the mistake. So this is the inside of the dress here, and I have the bottom part of the lining layer free. So all of the layers are currently stitched right up until that join line there, and then the inner lining layer is free. So now what I'm going to do is hand stitch this side of the lining to that side of the lining, therefore enclosing all the seams on the lining layer, and that will work. And because it's the inside, you're not going to see any discrepancies with it. So that's what I'm doing here. After figuring out that workaround, it's now back to the sleeve. So here I'm creating a hem, which is then going to create another elastic channel for even more elastic. After stitching close to the edge and leaving a little gap open in the center, it's now time to cut even more elastic according to the guide, and then threading it through with a safety pin once more. Once all the elastic's threaded through, I then sew the two edges together and then tuck that neatly into the hem and hand sew close the tiny little gap that I left to thread it through in the first place. And that's basically the bodice done at this point. So now onto the skirt. Here I'm sewing the top panels together. Followed by the middle tier pieces. And finally the bottom tier. Now all the bottom tier pieces actually get sewn together, creating one giant donut piece, whereas the top and middle pieces leave the back open so you can put the zipper in later. Now on to gathering. So along the top edge of all of the tiers I do a long straight stitch on my machine and then pull those threads together, gathering it by hand. Then I sew the top tier to the waistband of the bodice. Then I sew the middle tier to the bottom edge of the top tier. And with those two tiers attached, I can now sew in the invisible zip. And finally, I can now sew on the bottom tier. And finally, I finished the dress by doing a rolled hem along the bottom edge of the skirt. And with the hem done, the dress is now finished. Let's take a look. And there you have it. That is how I made my birthday dress for this year. Now I'm really happy with this dress. If you don't remember last year, I made one sort of similar vibes, similar colour, and it ended up being way too big. This one fits like a glove. Now remember, I did have to size down in the pattern by 2 sizes. It says that I should have been a size 20, but I made a 16 and it fits perfectly. So just keep that in mind if you want to recreate this dress for yourself. There is one issue that I'm having with the dress though, and that is because there are so many panels in the skirt and so much fabric in the skirt, it is really heavy and it keeps pulling the top down. But I found the best way to get around that is to wear it with a belt, and that sort of keeps, you know, the waist area in check, and it helps distribute the weight just a little bit more. But other than that one little nitpick, the dress is perfect. I love the fit, I love the feel of it, it's just really good all around. I wish I'd added pockets to it, but that is a me thing and not the dress thing. So let me know if you also enjoyed this dress. If you're going to make it yourself, good luck. It's really cool and I'd love to see your guys' recreations as well. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of sewing, crafting and fun related things here. And until next time, I'll see you then. Goodbye.